and more. For more of our projects and services, please visit hernandez.com and feel safe.
That intro sounded so legit. I was like, oh, who is that? I wrote it. Great. But anyways, it's happy Saturday because we're all here. I love the work that y'all do. I love being in community with people met, and so it just was really good to be here. Those of you online, hello. I get a little more shy. But anyways, grief is always timely. Unfortunately, it's part of our human experience on many scales, and so today's workshop is mapping our grief. It's inspired by Stephen Graham Jones' Mapping the Interior. If you have not read that short novella, you must read it. It is phenomenal. He is a native writer, and just the inner workings of what happens in that collection, I feel mirror the kind of work we're going to be doing today. I think constantly moving through grief versus going through the novel of like subconscious and metaphysical, supernatural grief manifest. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin. Solomon Shadi has this poem titled Safe House, and what we're going to be focusing on today is source material, paying attention to the consistent use of language. Something that's really helpful in writing is, and something that I feel I'm very much connected to in my work, is the use of voice and consistent language. So if I'm speaking like, hey, what's up, y'all, right? I try to find a way to maintain that consistent voice and language as I'm writing to create something a little bit, even if the concepts get super mystical or spiritual or political, I'm always tying it in with the use of language and my use of source material. So let's see what happens when we click here. Let's see if it will through this. Please redirect this. Yes. Perfect. So I'm gonna read this piece out loud to y'all. This is, I love having an example of where we're going. This piece is available on the link that you all have access to, so you can always reference back. And I want you to, just before I start, pay attention to the words in caps, right? This is a way of marking source material, marking coded language, and making a statement in the writing itself. I'm going to squat. Sanctuary, where we don't have to sanitize hands or words or knives. Don't have to use a scale each morning, worried we wake up too much space. I scan my memory of Baba talking, him on screen answering the question, how are you? I would ask and ask from behind the camera, his face changing with each repetition as he tried to watch the football game. He doesn't know this is the beginning of my scribing life. Repetition and change. The human face at the seaport in the home getting smaller. Let's search my father's profile. A mustache, black, and holding back a secret he still hasn't told me. Section of the couch that's falling dead in his repeated weight. Sector of the government trying to keep him from flying. He kept our house secure except from the little bugs that come with dried herbs from Sudan. He gives security officers a reason to get off their chairs. My father's not afraid of sedition. He can seize a wild pigeon on Santa Monica Street or watch Caesars and Philly in his sister's bedroom. The FBI swung him through. He said, use wood sticks to pull up your test lines and use them in self-defense. The voices come, his eyes sensitive, when he passes advice. Like I'm his secret, like we're all a serial caught on Iranian satellite TV. When he tells someone off, he calls it servicing. When I stand on his feet, I call it shadowing. He naps in the afternoon and wakes with sheet lines on his face, his hair upright. The sound of shells specified, the sound of muscle shells on the lips of the Bosphorus crunching beneath his feet. He's getting shell shielding. Shown it's better to travel away from the shoal Let them follow you, he says. He's somewhere in Los Angeles waiting. If he feels a short fall, he doesn't tell me. So before we start reading all this massive text, the poem itself was pretty much detailing this individual's relationship with their father, but the coded language, and I'm just gonna spill the tea for the sake of moving forward with the workshop. A lot of those coded words are government words that are used on legal documents, even though it may not seem like it. The word shielding, the word security, self-perception, and throughout the collection, I forget the title of the collection that this piece is in, all of the work, each poem has this coded language tying in the father's relationship to the government, to the father's abuse from the system, being a military official, like the tensions of her growing up without a father because of the distance. And so it's this gorgeous way of using language to interpret a larger narrative without being direct about it. And this piece mentioned that it like a militaristic language once. There's one sentence where that is explicitly stated, but this is also a way in which you don't feel the stress of having to fill everything into one poem. I know I've suffered from that. I want to fit all my life experiences, all my thoughts in one poem, but it's sometimes not the best choice in the writing itself. And so how can we find different means to access a larger narrative or weave a larger narrative into a single poem? I love this approach. I think it's really helpful. So we're going to start with a little warm up. We call it Spirit Up. So we're going to personify ourselves as a character from a cartoon series. You've all seen cartoon characters? Yes. So I want you to use these experience and your voice combined to tell me how you're feeling today. I have my little pointy example down here. I sing a ballad, hold my pink hair board, check to see if the mic's on, because even if I'm sad, I need to be the center of grief. I stare at all my sleepy listeners and slip into soliloquy. Why am I not caught? See, I'm capitalizing the key terms. Why am I not caught, chosen like Pikachu as Ash's lead companion on a journey? Why don't I have a lover while everyone else does? My HP health percentage is lowering, although no one attacked me. Is this what it's like to be paralyzed and poisoned by desire? I am a wild thing, lurking in tall grass, fret, melody so beautiful it yields to. Will I always be too much fairy? I want to know what it's like to turn laser red, lose my matter, and be warped into the Pokeball mansion you picked for me. It's science, my chemistry, according to Professor Oak, but I need to be chosen before I need to be revived. So a little corny poem about Pokemon. In this case, the character is Jigglypuff. It's this pink fur ball that sings and puts people to sleep. So it's so gorgeous, but it's so, like sleep-inducing that no one really appreciates her. So she grabs her mic and she starts scribbling on everyone's face because she's upset that no one is listening to her. So here I'm telling you about my experience via the use of this character. And every time that I reference something specific to the character, I'm capitalizing the term itself. So this is our first exercise. I'm gonna give y'all just 10 minutes to start flexing those literary muscles in this moment. Choose a character. Again, every reference to this character, capitalize it so you can mentally register it as it being part of the character's language or world or any of those. So 10 minutes. Hey Siri, set an alarm for 10 minutes.
So can you repeat that one more time so I can write it down in the chat?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're pretty much going to personify yourself as a character from a cartoon series. using their experience and your voice combined, tell me how you're feeling today. And aside from that, the app, which is to catalog the words that are connected to this character. Any sort of, for example, in my case, anytime you like football, paralyzed, or leader terms used in the game, like so capitalizing them so that you can register like reference points. Source material, like so much of these.
Perfect, thank you.
Can I play music?
Yeah, please.
Because the silence is unbearable. You have 3 minutes left. If you're done, what you could also do is go back and make sure that you are like fine editing and locating like every single word that is source material. If it's put the red dog, every time you use the word dog and red, literally has to be counts. One minute. Would anyone like to share?
Just a reminder that we're also recording, so, and then you're on Zoom. So there's people else, there's other people here with us, and yeah, so.
I should take it seriously by meetings, but zipping around this new universe, I point my laser gun at all that moves. Humanity is gone from here, yet I do my best to seek it out. I am to them, the top of my class, lots of purple, injected in my belly, filtered air, chemically contained natural whole grain leaves. Slow and clacking, a wide-eyed machine calls out to me. He is alone from all things, a gentle, devoted antique. He sees me and grows in deep devotion for me. He's Wally, and he protects the only human life that is left. Together we create a love story in a barren, ashen world of trash.
Amazing.
I love Wally.
Anyone else?
Can I?
Absolutely.
I love Muppet Babies. Muppet Babies.
Okay.
Nanny walks into the room all legs. I wrap my body on one green stocking calf, arms and legs all knotted up. I sit on her foot. Her leg carries me with her as she walks through our nursery. Kermit is crying. Miss Piggy has too many feelings and is tearing apart a teddy bear. Stuffing flies everywhere. I hold on tighter. Toys are strewn about like a blast. We just finished playing Star Wars and the war is won. My cinnamon buns still crown my head like the ancestors, but the pieces of hair are beginning to fall. The room looks kind of weird and I don't know that I have any more make-believe left. But Nanny has to go. She's always leaving. I beg her to hold me a while longer.
You have time for 1 minute.
Okay. Smoothie. I just want to sleep on top of the red roof of my dog's. But Woodstock lands on my bed for the rest of the week. Keeps walking at me, wake up. Talk to get out of your typewriter. And the great American mom is writer. But there's also Thanksgiving dinner to make, popcorn and toast. So wake up already, wake up.
Oh my God.
We have one person online. Should we try to? So Bonnie, if you can unmute yourself and then share for us.
Oh, okay. I have to introduce this. It's Top Cat. Top Cat was created in 1961. And it's because it's a cartoon, it's written in rhythmic verse. We live in the alley, Top Cat and his set. We're feral and tough, don't visit the vet. Untouchable folk surrounded by fish bones. We count as much as your Persian puss, who slumbers on pillows inside your rich hutch. No hat, my hat is a lid of metal, you see. I'm Tomcat the best cat because I am free.
So this exercise is super helpful in many ways. We tend to think we gotta show up to writing, knowing the world that we're living in or the narrators existing in. No, you don't. Like, there's ways in which you can use what already exists and turn it on its head. I'll openly share that I'm working on my second poetry collection, and what I'm doing is taking the X-Men universe and turning all of the characters into my family members, and it'd be like this whole new earth where, you know, these super powered, you know, indigenous descent, immigrant displaced people are seeking each other to be able to revolutionize and use their power to save the world. Like, wow, crazy. But this to me is like, oh, I love X-Men. I'm a huge nerd, so why not do this? Why doesn't poetry allow us to do that? Why is it always serious? Why does it always have to have all of these set expectations, right? And so this is just a quick little exercise to know, and I want y'all to take this with you, knowing that you can always find a way into writing by using what you know, challenging yourself by just, if you're watching a TV series, implement yourself into the characters, pull them out, and write something new that retells the story how you wanted it to be told. Moving on. Next with maps. Can we clap it up for maps? And so I don't know how to do maps. This is a weather map. This is a star map, a topographic map. There's an anatomical map, a political map, and an energy map. Random. Humans want to map everything. We want to understand things. So we're entering the phase of mapping our grief, right? Why did we start with source material, right? Why did we talk about that? Well, I don't know how to map my grief without landing somewhere. It's really hard to heal when we don't know where to anchor ourselves. It's really helpful to work with what we have access to. We have weather maps, star maps, topographic maps, anatomical maps, political maps, energy maps, and so many other kinds of maps that I have no clue about. So I did send, I think the link was sent to everyone. I would recommend that you open it on your smartphone if you have access to that, just so that you can sit with one of these 6 political maps, because obviously I can't, you know, go back and forth for the workshop, because the following prompt 2. Take us from the head to the toes of your grief, or take us from the mountain to the ocean of your grief. Where does your grief begin and end in the map that you choose? So that's what I want y'all to do. Find a map that you feel called to. Maybe it's an astrological map, right? Maybe it's a constellation. Which one do you feel looks more like the grief you're experiencing right now, or may want to be writing about? Who is a person reading your grief? Another way that you can play with the text is, are you the map? Or are you reading the map, right? Or is the poem written from the perspective of someone reading the map of your dream? I want you to utilize the language of the map you choose. I don't know the language of the topographic map, like I don't know that. So that's your part in doing the source material research necessary for any poem that you write for the rest of your life. It doesn't have to be a map, right? But I have to do research on my hood if I'm gonna write about it. Like, that's just period. If I'm gonna write about, I don't know, Snoopy, right? I need to know the ins and outs of Snoopy. What is the cast? Who wrote the show? when was it created? That's what I'm doing with the X-Men collection I'm telling you about. Who were the first creators? How many worlds exist in the X-Men universe? There's so many. Which one do I feel I resonate most with, right? There are so many questions that we have to allow ourselves to experience in our writing before, jumping in. Obviously, jump in, do what you want. But I do think that a poem becomes more impactful the more you can feel that source material, even if you're using clean language, where you're not caps locking the source material. As long as you know where you're going and you know how to guide your reader, you are capable of really enriching us a little bit more tangible. In the same style of Soma Sharif's poem, caps lock the language from the map that you choose as it appears in the poem. So the challenging part here would be doing a little bit of research on your own. And again, if you're not limited to these 6 options, Google types of maps and then choose one and then open it up on a Wikipedia page, see what's, I know it sounds like a lot of work, but
We're here to work.
we're here to work. We got 30 minutes, so don't let yourself get like distressed about it. That's not the point. The point is about the commitment to self. Find the map that like you really want to like write a poem to. I'm thinking the constellation map, because that's where my mind and my heart are. So then research the zodiac signs, research how the sky is sliced up into different houses, and then begin writing this poem about career. I mean, and I'm gonna play some music. If you have any questions, if you're struggling with research point by all means, let me know. It's hard. I don't like doing this shit. Like I literally made this workshop so that I could do it myself because I'm the kind of very lyrical, inclusive, and spiritual writer, right? I'm in very free form. This is a way of containing, focusing, and addressing. So if you have any questions, let me know. You may begin. We're gonna do like 15 minutes. So what I want you to do is do 3 minutes of research. Don't get caught up. Look up, like just identify like 5 major words part of this topographic map or astrological map that call to you. Write them down and embed them to the poem you're writing today.
If people need to use the restroom, the librarian Iago suggests we use and is very kind to let us use the staff bathroom through this door. So just to let you know, if you need use the one through there. Like some water?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Four minutes. Yeah, just so we can like close out my sharing. One minute. My goodness, how was that experience? Can I stay seated? Are we all okay?
Yeah.
I'm tired. How did y'all feel? Let's just talk about how we feel first, because I broke a sweat watching y'all work. So how was that experience, like researching, going back, filling in, underlining, or caps locking?
Frustrating.
Anyone else?
I'm the new writer, and I've written, but this is new for me, and it actually was very helpful.
Yeah.
Gave me something to, bounce off of and made me think about the connection.
Nice.
Yeah, I enjoy having a framework.
Mm.
like, maybe certain people from.
Oh, okay. Nice. Anyone else with angst or frustration? Yes, go ahead.
Since I felt kind of like dropped in, rather, sometimes when I start writing, feel like I'm like a little meandering, there's like some throat clearing, but this was just like, yeah, and it's partly like the time too, I think, but also the format of it. So a little disoriented, maybe.
It was helpful because there's just a medical facility where too much happened. And the map.
I'm asking,
Oh, Jack.
yeah, if anyone like to share, you can raise your hand. Your impressions? No.
No, okay, we're good. Okay, so now I would like to open it up for folks to share. I want to people walk in their mind and see what's up. Yeah.
It started as a losing my voice, my ability to I hold it all in as I start suppressing. I think I'm suppressing a lot more than that, but this isn't helping. I know it isn't. It moves to the heart, the aorta, and ventricles push to their limits. My head feels dizzy, can't keep up with the blood rush to my brain. I squeeze my eyes shut. I tell myself over and over, it will pass, it will be over soon, it will all pass. My stomach churns as the memories pour in. Despite my best efforts, I can't look away. My mouth waters as my dizziness becomes nausea. I curl inward, hugging myself. It will pass. It will be over soon. Bile rises up in my esophagus, and that's as far as I got.
If I may, it's phenomenal because I love how like grounded the piece felt. You didn't show that research in the written work itself, and that is an exceptional task. Like it's really challenging to be overwhelmed by all this information and source material that we've now scouted. How do you turn it into what's your voice? So that was really clear. It was really, I felt soft. I felt like I could travel into that world easily, and you just did a great job.
I took the question, where does your group begin? I took that quite literally.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Anyone else want to share? Oh my, y'all gotta share.
When my mother's father burned out our house, he must have been thinking of his grandmother, whose home burned down on the plains, too far from the other house. Life is full of disappointments. Her words, not mine. I played under the eaves of that house, one more load and board. The living room sunken, the ceilings dropped, each brick still there, now. My father's family had a home, its foundation 100 years old, built with legacy fixtures I never used, and a round door with a moon cut out, a crescent, Kamakina Kula. I never walked through it. They cut it down and sold it, the story of the island. I find the bathroom when I'm lost in my dreams, where the plumbing is still intact, washing out the mess, taking the skin.
I was just going to share a couple of impressions that people shared in the chat. So Lisa Chibi said, I love this. And the star map gave me a new great direction for a project. And Sonia shared, I kind of had a lot of issues picking a map, but eventually settled for a global solar map, mostly because it mirrors how my grief feels at the moment. I love this exercise.
Solar map, I could see like where that is a really good one. Thanks. Thank you for sharing. Similarly here, like I'm like, y'all are so great at what you do. Like you literally gave us a welcome into these homes, a welcome into these realities, and it's because you kept consistent the source material. We were in this interior design world where we could see the family, the fire, we could see the changes, the door being missing, and so it's really helpful, right? These source materials to be able to interweave different concepts, different memories, different moments into one place, like similar to what you were sharing about being able to encapsulate all of these dramatic experiences that happened in one single space in a very detailed and direct kind of way. So, anyone else? Yeah, for sure.
My map is a Victorian map of murderousness on women. It's called Map of Murderousness. Discoveries of 1860 by Dr. Savartha. They mapped along the fleshy parts, examined the hardness of her cranium, determined her actions and feelings and violence in a matter of anatomy. Affection, top of the cranium. She met a man who pulled her in by the folds of her skirts, promised her the world, all of England, in fact, though he was Irish. Whisked her away from a world that wanted her transformed to a passing breeze. As in who shiny Catholic woman, she bore him 2 daughters. Manners, frontal lobes. Her eldest married a man with an unstable mind, and she maintained her manners as he smashed dishes. 3 of her children she buried in the ground, then her husband, then herself. She picked up her plot with grace and poise, her best shades obscured by the shadow of an oak tree. Will, Chin, her daughter, the prettiest daughter, wore life, wore life on the shin. She was by the tortoise that was good enough to cry. She never apologized, rather hide herself behind an awkward and cry.
So interesting take on this idea of mapping. And this is, obviously I say map and I provide literal maps, but you know, even the architectural kind of angle to things was also genius. It's just a matter of finding a place to begin, like a framework, literally in this case with architecture, or in this case with this like murder map. That's so cool. Like you're so smart. But yeah, anyone in the chat want to share some of the things that we wrote?
If you'd like to share, please raise your hand. Nope.
Yeah, sure.
So there's some Greek words in this that I'll translate right after, but this is a map of Kalymnos, which is an island. Where to stay? The east facing Turkey. A sailboat points toward one of the long line of conquerors / landlords. The west, with the airport, where you can flee to Athens, and from there to nowhere you know. Ecclesia after ecclesia, church after church, one for every parlia, beach. Agios, agios, saints, saints. Tell me what the point is of being here without you. What am I trying to prove in these squares, these miles? That I've grown beyond you, can skip the generation that cut me out, to learn the old words.
Yeah, again, like I literally saw the geography like panning out and everything. So amazing job. Anyone else interested in sharing? Yeah.
Basically, Matt, I need to say that, but I'll be able to put it.
Yeah.
For this exercise, we will use intensity. Perhaps you will play a role as the days pass, like feelings. Knit a row each day you cry, knit 2 in the darkest shade when you weep. Color in the blocks to represent how the seasons change. How many layers did you wear today? And why was it more or less than yesterday? No, try to avoid looking at the entire map before it is drawn. Do not over evaluate with a limited data set. Correlation, causation, etc. Equations for increases in temperature in one part of the body do not account for decreases in others. Something in my stomach refuses to melt. How long will it live there? Color in bright, happy shades when it leaves. Please, oh please let it leave. Watch the seasons fall to the ground. Do not let it sadden you. They are making room for growth. Like every year, new color comes in spring.
Good job, yeah. This is good stuff. Before we close off, anyone else want to share? Oh, yes.
Fourth floor physician's building. Dr. Margaret holds my newborn son upright over the paper mat, and his feet retreat from the paper, making him look like he's marching. Fourth floor physician's building. On the day my wheezing, feverish 5-year-old is diagnosed with pneumonia, I have to walk her across the Paris parking lot, down the elevator, into the hospital, into the basement. She is so weak but too heavy to carry, and we get there only to find I have left my insurance card across that parkway, up the elevator, and across the parking lot. I was worried I was killing her. I didn't. Emergency. Here I visit with my best friend who is worried she is going to lose her baby. She does not. Emergency. 14 years later, a doctor tells me that with my unconscious father, it may be time to let him go. 5th floor. Antibiotics the next day. He's cheerful, alert, and back. Emergency. A year later. Cheerful, but pneumonia again. 2nd floor. Hospital. 2 weeks recovery. 5th floor. Hospice. But there's no room in hospice, so we have to argue with every nurse for morphine as we wait 7 long days for his big, giant, hilarious heart to stop.
And that was phenomenal, and it's a great way to end, because if we pay attention to how like you constructed this world, not only is it a phenomenal piece, right? But we were able to centralize grief. Grief is a wild thing. Grief stretches out in every direction, and it's sneaky, and it's subconscious, and it's intuitive, and it's spiritual. But what you did right there was tame it all in one space and say, no, we're going to talk about this. We're going to confront it. So
But I just say thank you, because every time I drive past there, I keep thinking of all these things, and the map helped me organize that. I mean, it's been 5 years, so thank you.
Oh, absolutely. So this is something that, aside from it being an amazing literary tool for writing, it's also an essential tool to source map your grief, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to talk kumbaya now. But it's, it's how we can reel it in and say, hey, like, what's your name? What do you look like? How do you move? What do you want? How do you exist, right? And being able to map that, makes for great poetry, but also great healing. So before we officially close down with 1102, I just want to show y'all real quick how source material has guided my newer work. So I've been doing it's really blurry, but I'm doing an investigation on Coca-Cola and my relationship to it via my mom's she really likes Coke. And there's a colonial tension there with imperialism and, Coke being more readily available in Mexico and in third world countries over water. And so I really went back in to develop I source mapped my grief, my hurt, my pain, diabetes running in our family deeply, and how it's a kind of deeper conversation, right? Pausa, enjoy, using the action, the source material language and turn it on its head. This is a document titled Undocumented, which is in my new book coming out in 2025. And so I'm trying to replicate, I created this sigil from scratch using my art skills, and I'm emulating these like burned out fingerprinted kind of documents that deem us legal or human or valuable. And then, and I think that was it. There was one more, but essentially the more you can sit with source material and like stretch it, the further you can take your work beyond comprehension to maybe the viewer, the reader, but at least make sense for it for yourself. So anyways, thank y'all for your time. Super happy to have been here and do this workshop with y'all.
So, thank you so much. Okay, let's have another round of applause. So much for sharing your time and resources with us. So you can help women to submit the future planning by filling out a short feedback form. The link will be in the chat, and then I can go be sent out later as well. Today's program was made possible by a grant from California Arts Council and sponsorship from the Hyde Park Heritage Library. If you enjoyed today's program, please consider making a small donation to Women Who Submit by going to the donate button at womenwhosubmit.org and submit to WWS. I'd like to join in the chat as well. Thank you to everyone who made today possible and for all who joined. The Zoom is going to close. And then for those in person, please enjoy snacks, and we will begin in both modes with breakout sessions at 11:30.
Thank you. Hey, people online said many thanks. That was amazing. It was such a pleasure to learn from you. I'm excited to hear about your new book. Thank you. There was beautiful writing today. A lot of excitement for what's to come. Bye, folks. Bye, Zoom world.